saltier than any other ocean. And it's one of but the Dead Sea is not a sea, it's a lake, okay? By the way, the reason they call it a lake, a sea, is because the word lake in the Bible is only mentioned once, and not in the context of a lake, but as a pool. So the word sea is like we say the Sea of Galilee or the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea is one of the deepest lakes in the world, 480 meters, which is around 13,000 feet. It's also, we said, and it's disappearing. The Dead Sea is disappearing because we said it's not a sea, it's a lake, and it's a closed lake. Because it's a closed lake and water doesn't flow anywhere else, the only way water can leave the Dead Sea is by evaporation. If I'll turn the boat and you look behind me toward Jordan, you see a fog, right? If you look behind me toward Jordan, you see fog. This fog is actually the evaporation. Okay, it's not a fog, it's the evaporation. The Dead Sea loses the equivalent of 600 Olympic swimming pools every day, or 750 million cubic inch of water, or around 4 feet, a meter and a half every year. But that only happens in the last 30 years. Until 30 years ago, the sea was very stable, around a foot a year, so which is around 30 centimeters. So what happened 30 years ago that causes this rapid descending of the sea? The peace agreement with Jordan, the Oslo Agreement. In the peace agreement with Jordan, which is the country over there that we can see there on the other side, the mountains far away, you see that's Jordan. And in Jordan, there is no fresh water. And we wanted to help them with water because Jordan is the longest border that Israel had. And of course, we wanted this border to be quiet as possible. And that's why in the Oslo Agreement, 30 years ago, we agreed to give them water. By doing that, we actually blocked the main source of water that feeds the Dead Sea. The main source of water that feeds the Dead Sea was the Jordan River and another river called the Yarmouk that starts in Syria, and both of them are coming together near the Sea of Galilee. And this water, by an agreement, we gave the Jordanians. So the problem of the Dead Sea is not what's going out, but lack of water coming in, okay? Like we said, the Dead Sea is one of the saltiest lakes in the world, but the Dead Sea is one of the saltiest lakes, but the Dead Sea is uniqueness in the world is the minerals. The Dead Sea is the only lake in the world that has the compound of minerals that there are in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has 26 minerals. The main 4 minerals are bromide, magnesium, potassium, and sulfur, okay? Those are the main producing minerals, and all the minerals are in the water in liquid form. When we have temperature change between the upper water and the air outside, those minerals get crystallized, they get heavy, and they sink down to the bottom. Why do they do that? Because the water of the Dead Sea is a saturated acid. It's actually water with so high salinity that it does not melt its own minerals anymore. It's if you take a glass of water and you'll try to melt sugar or salt in that glass of water. So in a normal cup, you can melt around two spoons, right? The third spoon would melt a saturated acid. And this is exactly the water of the Dead Sea. And that's why we have sediments. Now we're going to come closer to wall, which we're going to see the sediments layers. Okay, and then I will explain you how we recognize the difference between the summer and the winter. So we get closer and
Okay, we just lost reception 1 second. So we'll get back to a place with reception in a second. לא, אותך לא שומעים עכשיו.
No reception.
Okay, just a moment. Okay, we're back. We're back in business.
Okay. So if we try to turn the camera towards the wall.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Or some camera. Or some camera. Okay.
I guess
It's okay.
So far it's fine.
And we can actually see, if you look at the wall, you see the sediment layers. And we can have lines, right? You see lines, okay? You see white and you see dark lines. This is the sediments, okay? The white, it's summer. And that's only minerals, okay? Between day and the dark lines, it's winter. And that's soil that came into the Dead Sea with flash floods. So why do we have summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter? Because in this high salinity of the Dead Sea, we have another thing that causes osmosis. Water don't mix, okay? Flow on top. So whenever a flash flood is coming to the Dead Sea, it stays on top until salinity equalizes itself, and then it's all sinking at the same time. And maybe we can see it better and have reception.
I think we're going to change cameras again. The reception maybe is not good with the computer.
Okay.
Maybe we switch, but right now it's fine.
I'll try to get closer to the wall so we can. Yeah, so now we can see the sediments layers and then lift up the drone for the chimney.
Okay, now we have good reception.
Good. So now if you look at the wall, we can actually see the sediments layers. Okay. So we just saw the sediments layers on the wall, right? The white and the dark lines. And we said that that happens because the water of the Dead Sea doesn't melt its own minerals. What does melt these minerals? Fresh water. fresh water that are going under the ground, going through the sediments layers, melting them, and creating cavities. When the cavities gets big enough, the ground above it will not hold it, it collapses, and that's a sinkhole, okay? Where did the fresh water coming from? The mountain aquifer, around Hebron and Jerusalem, and under Judah desert. If some of you have been in Israel, then you probably know En Gedi. Okay, En Gedi is a water resort, and there it's also the same water coming from the aquifer. Now, some of this water are getting out under the sea, okay? And then we have sinkholes, and when that happens, in some places we get sinkholes, okay? So we do have sinkholes under the sea. And in other places, we get chimneys. What are those chimneys? We have freshwater spring, and around the freshwater spring, we have sediments build up. Looks like a chimney standing. And the fresh water are going from inside this chimney. But the problem is that, like we said, fresh water are melting the sediments. So technically, around a freshwater spring, we can't have sediments build up because the fresh water should melt it. But still it happens. And that means that there's got to be a barrier. There's got to be something that acts as a barrier between the fresh water and the seawater. And that barrier is a microorganism that lives in the fresh water. There. Here, bring the drone over here. That lives in the fresh water. That's his habitat. Okay? No, you're flying the wrong way. It's here. Forward a little bit. And you see it? Okay. Yeah, I'll go from the other side of the sun. So anyway, again, we have a freshwater spring, and around the freshwater spring, we have sediments build up, and the fresh water are going from inside these sediments, this chimney. And since the fresh water are melting the sediments, and since that's not happening, it means that there's got to be a barrier. And that barrier is a microorganism, double cell, that lives in the fresh water. In order to keep his habitat alive, which is the fresh water, he builds a membrane, a sleeve, a pipe, if you call it, from the bottom all the way up to the top to keep the fresh water inside the pipe. Since this pipe is physically on the outside, we can have sediments build up. So actually, if you cut a chimney on the inside, she's black. Why? Because it's freshwater materials. On the outside, you see the regular sediments of the Dead Sea. Now I'm going to try to get closer so we can actually get a camera and look inside the water line, the water pipe, okay? It will be on your left side, Nathaniel. Yeah. Yeah, here. Yeah, there. Try really to get the pipe. This. Yeah. This chimney is, by the way, 50 feet or 20 meters deep, tall, okay, from the bottom. I'll have to move the boat so I wouldn't. Okay. And again, it creates this chimney is creating in a way of a more or less like a coral, okay? There. You can actually try to see the bubbles. I'll try to not hurt it. You can actually, if I get closer, you can actually see bubbles. Every now and then you'll see bubbles coming up.
Doesn't the depth to, you know, switch between cameras if they want to see more.
Yeah. You have to switch between cameras if you want to see more. I'll try to. Yeah.
So the drone shows it amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move the boat and you can still be with the drone and we're gonna start going towards the other place. You're good on your battery?
Battery is, yeah, 73%.
Okay. So now we're actually going to go and see a sinkhole, okay? First, we're going to see a sinkhole above ground. And a sinkhole, we said, it's a result of fresh water that are going under the ground. They're going under the ground, they're meeting the sediment layers and melting them, okay? And melting them. When they melt them, when they melt them, they create cavities. When the cavities gets big enough, the ground above it will not hold it, and it collapses, and that's a sinkhole, okay? Sinkholes are the main problem of the Dead Sea in the last 30 years, and the reason for that is that because of the rapid descending of the sea, as long as we have fresh water within the sediment layers, okay, as long as we have seawater, fresh water can't come in. We talked about it, osmosis. It's a barrier. But as the sea is receding, the fresh water, the seawater gets out, and the fresh water can come in, and this is exactly what happens. So now we're going to go and see a big sinkhole above the water, on the ground, loads it, the big one, with the pool where we swim. And again, we said, because sinkholes is result of fresh water, so whatever after a sinkhole is happening, creating or falling down, you get a freshwater lake inside, okay? And of course, as time goes by and the fresh water are washing away more and more sediments, they're getting fresher and fresher until drinking water. So the drone is now going to fly and show you. By the way, I'm seeing a new hole, a new sinkhole. Look up there, Nathaniel. Halfway on the wall, straight there. You see?
Oh, the big
No,
one.
there.
The big one.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now we are going towards the big one.
There.
Okay. Are you seeing it? Guys, move to the drone camera. And what you see now, you're seeing a big sinkhole on the ground, and you're seeing a lake of fresh water. This is actually fresh water that coming, we said, the mountain aquifer, Hebron and Jerusalem, and under Judah Desert, okay? And this kind of freshwater pond, the small pool that you see, this is actually the first time that this water is seeing daylight, okay? They're coming all the way from Jerusalem and Hebron, and Hebron, and first time they meet in daylight, it's right here. It's a great place to swim, by the way. Very nice, cold, and nice water. Okay, now we're going to go and see Now we're going to go and see sediment layers that on the sediment layers in the water, but since they are close to the shoreline, the waves are actually pulling them apart and makes beautiful drawings. We're also going to see a very small sinkhole in the water. We said we have sinkholes in the water also, and we're going to see it now. So I'll stop here so we'll be in reception, and Nathaniel will fly forward and There, the drone is coming. Forward. There, you see yourself? There.
Along the shoreline.
Yeah. Now, if you look along the shoreline, if you get closer to, yeah, get closer there. You see the red color? Get closer to the rocks. Look at the rocks, and you see red color, red brownish color. Okay. This is actually oxidation. This is rust. Those rocks has a lot of iron in them. Okay, ferrite, and they simply oxidize. And this is why you see this color, this rusty color, reddish color. It's iron ore.
Okay, we're getting close to that. Here it is.
Yeah.
I see it.
Now you are above the sinkhole in the water. And you see the rocks and the sinkhole in the water, right? And we are in reception, right? So,
I hear you. It's good.
yeah. Okay, good.
I see 55%. Say something?
You hear me? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are staying here, so we have reception.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to move on and see another thing, another way of crystallization. Okay, the thing is that a lot of people are making this mistake that the white that you see, the sediments that you see, it's not table salt, okay? It's salt acids. We said it's minerals, and the closest to table salt that you get, it's salt acids. Why? Because NaCl, table salt, is forming, but within hours, it bonds to the rest of the minerals around it because of the high salinity and becomes salt acids. Think about stuff you can use to clean your tiles in a shower or so, okay? So now we're going to go and see another form of crystallization, okay, of table salt, of NaCl. NaCl belongs to the crystal family. And crystal family, the molecules are arranging themselves in shape of cubes. So crystal are cubics, okay? So if I'm right, we're actually going to find salt cubes, or we call them salt diamonds, but we're actually going to find square salt cubes, and we are going to a place there now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook myself from the microphone to go down and bring you some of these cubes.
And with the tablet also.
Okay. So you want to take the microphone closer, or?
Put it on you. I'll get close enough.
What?
Yeah, you can put it on you.
No, but I want to go down and pick up some.
So you hold the microphone.
Wait.
Let
Sorry.
No.
Okay. You wanna land with the drone?
No, it's fine so far.
Okay. So we said that NaCl or table salt grow in shape of cubes. Okay. Grow in shape of cubes. We said that the molecules are organizing themselves in shape of cubes, and you simply, if you look in the mud, okay, there's a lot of cubes. You simply find cubes.
Switch cameras. Tell them
salt diamonds. Switch cameras from the drone to us. Again, you see another cube. Now, if you look carefully inside, you're actually going to see the growth line because it grows from the middle. It grows from a molecule, right? And it grows. Now, since the molecule is cubic, it has to grow in the shape of a cube. And this is why we get those nice squares.
Amazing.
You see. Yofi. Come here, I land in front of the boat.
Land? Okay, so
Yeah, maybe, I don't know how you're with the batteries.
tell them we're done.
Yeah, okay. זה מהליין שלו, תלך לחוץ לבוט. חוצה.
Okay, we're getting back in.
כן, יש מלא. כן, לאסוף, נמצא לך אחד יפה, תאסוף לך. את זה ניתן לנתנאל.
But it goes back here.
Yeah, wait, I move to Okay.
Okay, we're back in business now.
Yeah, so we're back on. Again, hope you understood why the cubes, okay? Like we said, table salt NaCl belongs to the crystal family, and crystal family, the molecules arrange themselves in shape of cubes. So crystals actually grow in shape of cubes, okay? And that's why we get those square shapes of cubes. You want to try, should try mineral. Yeah?
Yeah, with the drone or with the boat?
What?
With the drone or with the boat? Whatever.
No, with the drone. No, going like we do always. Yeah.
Okay, tell them where you go, we're going.
Okay, now we're going to go and see a beach that used to be a mineral beach and got closed 5 years ago almost for today because of sinkholes. Okay? Big sinkholes in the parking lot happens, and of course we had to close down the and of course they had to close down the beach. So okay, so guys, we're gonna higher up the speed a little bit, okay? So we can still be good with the daylight, with the sunlight.
Now it's a little hard to hear because we sped up. We're speeding up a little bit. But in just about 2 minutes, we're going to get to Mineral Beach. And then we get to take off with the drone again, once again. So bear with us. יש רק בן אדם אחד.
Okay. By the way, here it's beautiful because we're going to see some driftwood that got drifted into the Dead Sea. And of course, everything in the Dead Sea gets pretty fast covered with minerals. Toti. Tot. Okay. So now we're going to start going slowly with the boat towards Mineral Beach, what used to be Mineral Beach. Unfortunately, because it was one of the best places to be in when you come to the Dead Sea, if you want to go to the sea, and got closed because of a sinkhole, and we lost 20 workplaces. Now, 20 workplaces when you live in a place like the Dead Sea, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not something we're gonna recover from so fast, but that's life. Are you trying to fly to the sinkhole? Okay, move to the drones. Move to the drone, guys. Now you're seeing the leftovers of the beach. What? Okay, so if you see this brown shed or house that the drone is now showing you on the right-hand side of the beach, there actually used to be my boathouse. I used to work from this place and got closed. In one fine day, it's like, you know, it's in the middle of the day, suddenly a huge sinkhole in the parking lot. We're going to try to show you this sinkhole. And then in one day, that's it. You can't work, you can't, and it wasn't so nice when it happens, but took a while, but we got over it. We made ourselves another place to work from. And, but it's hard to see it. It's hard to see it. It's used to be a beautiful place.
We're seeing all the rest of sinkholes. That's the oil plant, and we're setting back these.
We're going to try to show you the stuff that doesn't make sense. I mean, I can understand diving in the Dead Sea, but why do you need the sun protection or shade?
Underwater.
Yeah, underwater, but
I'm going to show them the boot, the flashlights.
yeah.
Here it is. Now we see it in the middle of the picture.
Yeah, and this is where the sea was for almost 4.5 years ago, almost 5. And now we are trying to look for, there it is, umbrella in the water. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's on the right side in front of the boat. Look now, look in front of the boat in the water and tell me what you see.
Okay, we
There, you see it?
Look in the picture.
Here.
Here it is.
Oh, no, look here.
Yeah. You see that? You see, amazing. That's an amazing picture. Okay, we don't know what happened. How it happened.
Yeah, probably the wind or somebody forgot it here or left it here, and yeah, the rest is history. Good. You can actually land here, so. תעשה שלום.
Hello.
מה? זה, כן, גם. זה לא חול, זה מלח כזה שהוא עם אבק. אתה מבין, חמוד? זה אבק שהתיישב על המלח, אז זה נראה כמו חול. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Hope you learned something about the Dead Sea, and hope to see you here when the COVID-19 coronavirus is over. Israel is a beautiful place to be and to travel. Thank you. Bye.